to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abassi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. Welcome back to our series on the 6 stages of acceptance. And yes, I am working on a PowerPoint. Oh boy, I just make up my own job. That's what I do, but I like it. I'm also painting an amazing picture, and I don't know. I mean, maybe this is going to be my career and I'm going to make millions. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Um, but we are on a roll for the podcast episodes lately. And that happened, if you remember, right after I said, I don't know, maybe I'm in a slump or whatever I said like 3 episodes ago, 4 episodes ago. And then we had a string of topics here. And I like when this happens. So today we're picking up with the third stage of, I went like this. For those of you who are not looking at the camera, I held up 2 fingers and I said, we're on the third stage. So we're on the third stage of acceptance, and that is friction. So we've talked about, I'm setting myself up for failure here because I'm going to reiterate the previous ones before I talk about today's. And odds are I'm going to forget what they are. So stage 1 is going to be fine, claiming that we're fine when we're not fine. Stage 2 is not fine. We're not fine. Next is, I knew this was going to happen. Hold on. I'm getting back to it. I know you're screaming at the radio right now. Focus. That's what we talked about yesterday. This is really a test. That's all it is. So you have passed and I didn't. So we have fine, focus, and today we're talking about friction. So this is speaking of being on a roll, this is our emotional roll call. So what I talked about yesterday is that moment of clarity when reality hits, when reality snaps us back into, oh, this is the real deal. And then there are feelings that come with that. So the action in stage 2 was to reach out to someone and let somebody in on what's actually happening with you. So focus kicks the door open to lots of feelings, and it doesn't wipe its feet at the door. It is just going to walk right in, and whatever happens, happens. So we have fear, for me, would be the first feeling that comes up when I am struck with reality on whatever it is that's happening, because it's something that I'm unfamiliar with, and so I'm scared. I'm afraid. Sometimes there is anger when reality hits. It's like, why me? Why did this have to happen to me? I did not give permission for this to be a part of my life plan. And then there's bargaining, and that's kind of the sneaky one where we try to figure out, how can I beat the system? How can I find a loophole? That was what I tried to do in sobriety, trying to find the loophole. Well, I'll drink if, and it got pretty morbid for me. I was always looking for what is the thing that was going to allow me to drink. Even though I knew that I was an alcoholic, I was trying to bargain my way out of it. And with my disability, I really thought this, because I couldn't believe that I had a disability. I just felt like one day I was going to wake up and it was all going to go away. So if I just slept and kept sleeping, like, it would go away, just like any other headache. Headaches go away. They don't stick around for 4 years. Well, mine sticks around for 4 years. And then there's a little bit of shame that I have felt with my disability where I feel like I know that I'm supposed to take care of myself, but I don't. I do it when I feel like it sometimes. And that's when I feel guilty. Like when I went, this is the example I'm using throughout this series is when I was standing on the curb getting ready to step into the parking lot. I thought I knew better than to sit in that coffee shop for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And then I felt guilty. I felt a little bit of shame, like wondering, like it's my fault that I feel this way. And I know that that is not true. Yes, I felt worse because I sat there longer, but it's not my fault that I have a disability. It's not my fault that I had a stroke, that I was left with a vestibular disorder. So I need to make sure that when my symptoms are heightened, that I don't give myself a guilt trip and know that these emotions are a normal part of this process of acceptance. And it's not fun at all, but it's normal. And that is what I'm calling friction. It's the point between knowing the truth, where we just snapped into focus and being ready to actually live with the truth and walk through our lives with the truth. So when we're hit with this kind of, for me, like it's a immediate stress and it it's spewing, for lack of a better word, lots of chemicals in my body. And that's going to cause me to not think clearly. So when I'm standing on the curb and I have this feeling of, oh, this is real. I should be holding on to somebody. Um, I have this fear, I have this shame, and that those feelings are kicking all of my systems into gear and spewing, yep, that's what we're going to call it, chemicals. But there's power in naming what those feelings are. And I talk about that all the time. Um, Labeling emotions actually, even though what I'm dealing with is uncertainty, the emotion that it is eliciting in me is a familiar emotion. I know what fear feels like. I know what shame feels like. And if I can ground myself by labeling what the emotion is, then I'm actually going to lessen my stress level. I mean, isn't that weird? But it's true. So we're going to name the emotion. That's our action. We're going to name what we're feeling in order to start taming it. Um, I think when I'm thinking about like the shame and standing on the curb and thinking, I really should ask this person next to me if I can hold on to their arm. I mean, I know her, but I'm like, I'm embarrassed to ask. Like, I don't want to look weak. Um, but that's something I need to get comfortable with. And throughout sobriety and throughout my stroke recovery, I am learning how to ask for help. Like when I needed to face my resentments and felt relief, I needed to do that with another person. And we tend to have an automatic resistance to vulnerability. And that resistance, that's friction. It is a way of trying to protect ourselves, but yet what it's doing is it's holding us back from progressing through those feelings that we're naming. So it's easier to lessen that friction by talking to that trusted person that we chose when we focused in the last stage on what's happening to us. We talk to that person about what is actually happening. So we're literally going to say to them, I feel scared. I feel bad and I'm nervous. And as weird as it is to identify your weakness and make yourself feel more powerful, it's like empowering you to take a step forward when you acknowledge what's happening and give it a name and tell the person who you have chosen as your trusted friend or confidant. So, what is the emotion that you're feeling? Where do I feel it physically? Do I feel it in my gut? Do I feel it in my head? And I'm talking about the emotion, in stage 2, I'm talking about I'm snapping into reality. The For me, the symptoms that I'm feeling are becoming real. Now I'm identifying what is the feeling, the physical feeling that my emotions are causing to me. Like, is it making me nauseous? Because that's real for me. What thoughts are coming to mind when I'm feeling these emotions about being scared or being ashamed or embarrassed about grabbing this person's arm that I know really well, but I haven't seen her for a long time. So I don't know, it's embarrassing. It shouldn't be, but it is because I'm showing my vulnerability. I'm showing in my mind, I'm showing my weakness. And what thoughts are coming with that? Am I thinking, oh, well, she's better than me or stronger than me, or she can do all these things and I can't. So identifying what those thoughts are and then breathe. Yeah. Just breathe. So let your nervous system join in the conversation that's going on between your ears and between you and that trusted person. Um, so, so think about what we've talked about previously is what is that thing that you might be ignoring? What is that thing that somebody might have told you, but you just don't want to face it? And then you've snapped into reality with stage 2. Now, what is the emotion that comes up? What is the thing that you've been avoiding? What is the emotion that you're avoiding? And talk to your trusted person about what it is. Like, if you have to leave a voicemail or send a voice text, like, do it with your voice though, and tell somebody about, look, I am, let's switch gears and talk about, like, there's a lot of people having some career changes lately. And there's people who are making big decisions about their life and their career changes. And maybe you realize that you've got to change your job, but you're afraid to. Um, and you haven't told anybody. So give somebody a call your mom, call your sister, call your friend and tell them, look, this is what's actually going on in my life, and this is how it's making me feel. And then breathe. And that's when we invite the nervous system into the conversation and we allow it to process. Like the nervous system is, I've always felt was my adversary. I was always trying to, whenever I felt any anxiety. I felt like this is bad. Anxiety is bad. I need to do whatever I can to escape anxiety. I don't want to feel that. But what we actually want to do is invite it in and know that this anxiety, this feeling, these feelings that I'm allowing myself to feel and I'm calling, giving it a name and I'm talking about it to somebody, um, it's not going to kill me. These things aren't going to kill me. And you never know when you're reaching out to somebody else and you're talking about this stuff. The other person might, number one, feel the same way about something similar. So you're inviting them to have a conversation about stuff that's going on with them. Or two, what I've talked about before, when you're inviting somebody in, you're giving them the opportunity to be of service. So that's where we're at. We're at friction and we're feeling. And tomorrow we're going to talk about the framework. That's stage 4. So these feelings are not killing us and they're not telling us what to do. They are information. And what we're doing in stage 4 is we are gathering the information because we don't want to just react to our emotions. We want to feel them and listen to them and talk about them with our trusted person. And then we can respond to what is actually happening in our lives. And that's the plan, that's the framework. So that's turning your emotional data into something useful. So we're pushing through the friction, and then it's time to build the framework, the plan for what are we going to do about what's actually going on in our lives. So that's what I've got. That is stage 3 with 3 fingers. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.